The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to a Super Bowl recap edition of the Phixated podcast. I'm your host, Mike Azzolina, and I'm joined by my boy Regz. And Regz, before you get in, I'm just gonna obviously. I don't know that we should even be recording right now because we have a lot of feelings about this game, and we should have cooled off before we hit the mics. But certainly wanted to come on. We promised the post game, and
right.
we're gonna do one. I know we have a few Chiefs fans who listen to this, especially or including Kyle, who helped us out last week. So I first off want to say congratulations to those people who listen to our podcast and are Chiefs fans, and certainly am thrilled for those of you that are celebrating tonight, and obviously wish that Regz and I were doing the same thing. And there's a lot to talk about for sure. I think what's hitting me hard right now the most is, and I don't want to be salty, and I don't even want to go there, Regz. I don't want to start here, but that's a really hard way to lose a football game. Like
it's not just a hard way to lose a football game. It's a effing disaster to lose the Super Bowl that way.
Yeah. I'll toss it to you here in a moment. I know that Andy Reid outclassed Jonathan Gannon in the second half, and I know the Jalen Hurts fumble will haunt us for decades. And I know Patrick Mahomes still did his thing and was the guy that everybody thought he was, and that our defensive line did nothing tonight. Like, I get all of it. But in the moment where the defense needed to do what they needed to do, where they should have done it, they did it. And a guy wearing stripes took that away from them with a really ticky-tack call. And I understand, like, there are people on Twitter saying, well, if it's a penalty in a regular season game,
no,
then it should be a penalty in that moment. And I got to be honest with you, Regz, I don't think that's a penalty in a regular season game.
It's not.
Like, it's what, first of all, and like, I know they called holding, they didn't call illegal contact. So within 5 yards, I guess doesn't make all the world of difference. But like, it wasn't like it. I don't think Juju catches that ball anyway.
No.
And the fact that penalty flag came out, when I saw a flag, like, my heart just dropped. This season has been too magical. Jalen leading that drive right before that was magical. Jalen's carry on the 2-point conversion
I was just about to say,
was too magical. And Jalen deserved the ball with a minute and a half left. He deserved it. He deserved the ball. That game deserved an ending. An ending that was fitting to the way that it was played from start to finish, and it didn't get that. And it's far too often, and it happened to Cincinnati 2 weeks ago. It happened to them too.
I almost think that call, I was about to say, I think that call was actually the right call.
I agree. I'm going too far there, and I apologize because I'm just emotional right now. I'm having a hard time because I dedicate so much of my life to these teams, and I've had my heart broken twice in the last 4 months. And this game I really thought was going to end differently for us. And I'm still sitting here on the losing end, and I feel like that was dictated by, there was a lot, and I know that there was a lot.
Yeah,
we're
it's
going
not
to
the
talk
only
about
thing
all
that
of
did
that.
It, but
Absolutely not. But Jalen deserved to have the ball with a minute 40 seconds left and a timeout.
Yeah.
And a timeout. And who knows if Bucker makes that field goal? He missed one similar earlier in the game.
Right.
It's a lot to process right now, and I just feel like there's a time and place for that call, and I feel like if that's not Patrick Mahomes on the other side, that's not a call that's made. And now I'll let you talk.
again, I'm very much like you. There's so many thoughts and feelings, and to perhaps bring a joke to it, I put my 8-year-old son to bed literally 10 minutes ago. And as I tucked him in, I said, "Welcome to being a Philly sports fan, buddy." He was very much in better spirits than I was. And very much not feeling the same pain as my 35 years of being fans of these teams will bring you. But he's got time. But my wife and I had a good chuckle about that. I texted you, obviously, plenty of things in pure rage. I think Jonathan Gannon should lose every job offer he's received in the past 6 months. I think that if anybody calls him a defensive genius ever again, you should lose press credentials. You should not be able to write articles. You should not be able to blog, put up YouTube videos, whatever it might be, content-wise that you do. You're not allowed to anymore. And I think if I ever hear his defense justified by another statistic ever again, my brain might ooze out of my ear. He got his pants pulled down and his lunch money stolen in the biggest game of his life because the Chiefs sent one person in motion on every play and his defense fell apart. Could not handle one person going in motion on the offensive side. Motion has been a thing in the NFL since the 70s. And Mr. Defensive Savant didn't coach his guys up enough to figure it out. I won't say didn't coach them up enough, but didn't put his players in a position to be ready for one person going in motion. How is that possible? I've been told all season long, he's been doing great. It's been fantastic. I don't want to hear it ever again. Your defense, his defense, from him down to the last player on the field on the defensive side, decided to play the worst game of their lives in the most important game of their lives. Yes, the offense wasn't perfect.
Damn close.
But let's just list them. Jalen Hurts, obviously the fumble, will be talked about for a very long time. It's a second-year quarterback's first Super Bowl. I'm not gonna. He came back the very next drive and scored a touchdown.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be too worried about it.
Yeah.
AJ Brown made every catch and then some. Devontae Smith, every catch and then some. Dallas Goedert, every catch and then some. Miles Sanders decided to have a life in the second half a little bit. Kenny Gainwell came out running hard and playing well. Offensive line, I thought they pass blocked really, really well. They kind of got the running wasn't great tonight. But from a pass blocking perspective, with Lane Johnson still having a torn groin, I thought they did an unbelievable job.
Yeah.
As you've said, there are plenty of things that we could talk about that led up to this, but it comes down to what you said. In the most important moment, the defense got off the field. And someone who decided that they had to be a part of this game, not wearing a red or green uniform, took it away from them. On a ticky-tack garbage call that should never happen in a Super Bowl. It should never happen. I don't know how to feel. I thought I liked Travis Kelce, and then he got on the microphone and started screaming at everyone that he didn't think that, no one picked us in the Super Bowl. No one thought the Chiefs would do anything. You got bailed out. It's pretty, you got bailed out, man. Maybe have some sense of the moment and not be such a jackass.
And it might be your brother's last game.
Yeah, maybe don't be such a jackass.
Like, wait till the parade. And I like Travis, and again, this is more emotional response, I think, than anything. But I know the moment, like that, like your brother's.
It's like the San Francisco guys complaining 2 weeks after the game ended.
And let me tell you this: I can assure you that the Eagles won't be acting up that way.
Did you see how Jalen Hurts, like his facial expression after the penalty got called?
Nah.
He sat there and went like this.
Yep.
Didn't go nuts. Didn't like, he ran off the field. I don't know if you've seen John Clark's clip. He runs off the field into the locker room.
Yeah. And like, they won't make excuses.
No.
Like, they're going to be accountable. And I appreciate that.
You know, I feel really bad for it.
We'll make the excuses for him.
You know, what I feel really bad for is James Bradbury.
Yeah.
The dude played his ass off this season.
Yeah.
And he's still gonna make a lot of money. No one's gonna not sign him because of this one play. But was the best corner on this team from weeks 8 through the Super Bowl. Darius Slay, non-existent again tonight. Hassan Reddick.
We didn't hear him because that side of the field, nothing happened over there tonight.
Hassan Reddick, non-existent. Sweat, non-existent. Against 2 tackles who you were better than. I know they chipped Hassan all night. Fine.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of stuff to keep that from
Our
happening.
linebackers absolutely exposed.
Yeah, I can't wait for Nakobe Dean.
But let's leave Nakobe Dean on the sidelines all game when our linebackers are jumping in every wrong gap and getting fooled by the simplest of motions. Let's not try something different. I could just keep going, right, and ranting for the next couple hours. I'm sure I don't know when I'll fall asleep. Like, my adrenaline and anger is at such an all-time high that I think this podcast should just go the rest of the night until the morning. Like, we could just sit here and talk for the next 8 hours.
I'm not sleeping.
It's just, I'm like, we're very much the same in this way. I never want it to be this call. It's like everyone was saying all week. Nobody wants Pat Mahomes to be hurt, and that's how we win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, this just, I said it the whole time. I said, like, when it happened, this can't be how this ends. This can't be how this game ends. It just can't be. Fine. If the Eagles get the ball back, down by 3, and we don't score the touchdown, okay.
Let the players
decided the game. Yep. And if
the players decide the football game.
If the Chiefs defense stepped up, way. If the Chiefs defense stepped up and stopped them, would I be angry? Of course I would. Would I be this upset? Right. Would I be this upset? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. End of the day, I know that the defense got beat the whole second half. I know that.
Yeah.
But the game was still tied.
Right.
The game was tied.
Yep.
It was 35-35. It would have been a lot different if it was 35-24.
Yeah.
If it was, 35-27.
Yep.
Like, if they didn't score and tie the game with 5 minutes left and get off the field on a 3rd and 8.
Yep.
With 1:40 left and a timeout in their pocket,
yep.
I'd feel very differently. And here's the thing, Regs, like we said this before we came on the air. Greg Olsen, who I thought did I actually thought both broadcasters did a really nice job tonight. Who is an offensive player, a future Hall of Famer, arguably. When he is on the broadcast live saying that is not a penalty, an offensive player.
Yeah.
That you can't call that. That tells all. Regs, if you open Twitter right now, unless you're a Niners fan they are all still bitter, or a Chiefs fan, and I don't follow many of them. I've only seen a couple. There are Dallas fans on Twitter right now saying that the game can't end that way. It can't. It can't. It should not. And look, we'll make all the excuses. We will say this till we're blue in the face. And again, we're going to get into the whole game in a moment. But I think from an Eagle fan perspective, for those of you listening, I appreciate you guys waning with us and just letting us vent because we came on about 10 minutes after the game. So we're having a hard time processing this. It's so fresh. And, you know, like I know, and earlier in the game, there was a missed PI call, right? The Bradbury play over the middle with James, with Schuster. That was far more egregious than that call that got made with 1:40 left in this game. Far more egregious.
I mean, it's just, and I heard this before the game started, that this particular group of referees had been flag happy for most of the season.
But they weren't tonight.
But that's what I mean. That's exactly what I was going to say, is that for almost all the game, I thought every flag was a very clear-cut call.
Yeah. It just wasn't.
Like delay of game, offsides, you know, all those things I thought were very clear-cut and called correctly. And for almost literally the entire game, they were letting things go on the outside of the field, whatever it was. And like, just that's when you decide to get flag happy and pull that yellow thing out of your pocket. That's when you do it on a throw that's 15 yards past the guy.
And don't even begin to say that it's because he got held. He did not get that held.
Yeah.
That it was 15 yards deep. Like, Juju isn't the same player he was.
No, that ball's not being caught, regardless of what happens.
No, what happened was Mahomes felt pressure, threw the ball up, and then decided to point for a flag and got it. That's what happened. And look, let's cut that there. Let's talk about some of the other stuff from this game. I want to start with Jalen Hurts. If there's one thing that Niners fans and their players were wrong about, it's that if you make Jalen Hurts play quarterback, your defense is going to have a good day. Robbie Gold, dumbass. Jalen Hurts is a dog.
27 of 38, 304 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 15 carries for 70 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and here's why. So that game could have gotten away from him after the fumble.
Mm-hmm.
It could have gone completely awry on him.
Exactly right.
And what's he do? He comes back and carries them down the field.
Yep.
Scores a touchdown basically on his own legs, incling that 3rd and 5 that you and I talked about.
4th and 5.
4th and 5. Yeah, 4th and 5.
Jesus, that play.
I'm struggling a little bit for Jalen tonight. Like, that fumble is going to eat him all off season. Like, that is going to eat at him
we're
all.
Literally about to go up 2 scores.
Yeah. And it was so prompted.
Yeah.
He just dropped the ball.
Just trying to switch hands. Yep.
Yeah. Which is so uncharacteristic. He's been so turnover. He just hasn't been turnover prone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just not a guy who turns over the ball, especially running the football. So to see that happen in that spot, and then the scoop and score, which came right after that pass interference call that was missed, so ball don't lie there. Would have been nice to have a ball don't lie moment. I did have a couple of people who texted me after the play that ended the game from the 35 that, he basically bounced, that were like, oh, no arm. And I'm like,
so look what just
that's
got tweeted.
That's what we're gonna say.
What? Dave Zangaro, who works for NBC Philly. James Bradbury admits he grabbed jersey, but said he was hoping the ref would let it slide. Admits it was a hold. So listen, that's a guy. I don't care what he says.
For him.
That's exactly my point. I don't care what he says. James, it wasn't, man. But good for you for stepping up.
Good for you.
And not saying the refs, blew my chance at a Super Bowl.
Good for him.
How about Robbie Gold? Does he say the same thing?
Good for him.
How about Debo? How about Brandon Ayuk? Want to pick someone? Travis Kelce probably doesn't say that either. Piece of shit.
Good for him. You know what? Good for him. And we'll make the excuses for you. But we'll end. We're gonna go back to that at the end because I think there's a couple more things that need to be said. But definitely want to tip my cap to Jalen for his day, his season.
Listen, man, it's like we said before we started. It's a second-year quarterback in his first Super Bowl. He had one bad play.
Yeah.
One. I just read you the statistics.
Yeah.
That man that offense did their job all night.
Yep.
And ended it by going down the field and getting a touchdown when they most needed it. And then scored on a 2-point conversion where he gets tripped at the 4-yard line. And somehow gets into the end zone by sheer will.
Mm-hmm.
And ties the game.
Yeah.
Which is all he can do there. He can't take the lead. There's nothing else in that scenario that happens besides you have to tie the game to force Kansas City to score. And that's exactly what Jalen Hurts and the offense did.
Yeah.
He didn't. His throws were unbelievable all night. He had a bad throw to AJ in double coverage that luckily AJ knocked down. But the throw to AJ on the first big touchdown, he put it in a spot where only AJ is getting that ball.
Yeah.
And God, AJ Brown is very good. Jesus.
You know what throw is going to be forgotten tonight?
The Dallas Goedert one?
Mm-mm.
The long one to Devontae at the end of the game?
Mm-mm.
I don't know then.
The ball to Quez that should have been caught.
Yep.
That would have probably ended up being a touchdown, but they kicked the field goal.
Quez drops it, hits his hands.
Mm-mm.
And there was another good Olsen point. Olsen said, "What a throw by Jalen Hurts."
And he slowed down.
Yeah.
I'd have to look back. I do believe they kicked a field goal there. But I'd have to look back.
They might have.
I believe it was a field goal. I don't think they punted there, but I believe it was a field goal.
Yeah. And then look, on the Tony returns, Saipas hits a terrible punt.
Yeah, but they had him.
But they had him. Yep, they had him right where he was, and he bounces off of 3 guys and reverses field. And
I mean, again, it's not good special teams.
But
play.
again,
Like
even after all that, Jalen takes them down and ties the game.
Yeah.
This is not on Jalen Hurts. You wanted Jalen Hurts to be a quarterback? I just read you the box score.
Yeah.
27 of 38 for 304 yards and a touchdown. And tack on 70 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns and the most important 2-point conversion he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you want? What else do you want that man to do?
Yeah.
At how old is he? 25?
24.
24 years old. He just got into the Super Bowl and did it. It's like him and Devontae said. It's like, we were born for this.
Yeah. And I mean, look, offensively, and we'll see what happens here in the next couple of months. You know, they have one free agent offensively, and that's Isaac Seumalo.
Mm-hmm.
They do have guys they can stick in there, depending on what happens with Kels.
Yeah.
If Kelsey sticks, then they can put his replacement at guard for a year. He's perfectly capable of playing guard. If they want to let Seumalo walk and then draft a guard in next year's draft.
Pick number 10.
Next year, not even this year.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to use 10 for defense probably with all the guys leaving.
Yeah, they're gonna have to figure out defense, and we'll do. Well, I think next week will be our sort of Eagles offseason need type of show. I
don't know.
And then certainly I don't think Lane's gonna retire. I think Lane will be back, but they need to. One of these first round picks has to be Lane's replacement.
Yeah.
They have to figure out what that's going to be, and that might be number 10. Let him kind of work under Lane for a year or two,
yeah,
and figure it out from there. But they, offensively, everybody's back.
Right.
Miles Sanders needs to go, and that's
yeah.
fine.
Yep.
Like Kenny Gainwell proved his worth. They've
never been they've never been relying on a stud at that position.
No, and no one should be. And I think Isaiah Pacheco proves that.
Yeah.
Like, to pay a running back a lot of money makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense anymore.
Draft one in the first round doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like,
how will he find somebody?
He'll find somebody, or they'll pick up a scrap heap guy like they did with LeGarrette Blount. Like, you don't need to go big there. You just don't. So basically, you might lose Sayamalu and you might lose Miles Sanders. Otherwise, you're running it back.
Yeah.
Like, you're running it back with all the big guys, and you might lose Pascal, but maybe not. Maybe he comes back for another year because of his relationship with Sirianni. Which brings us to the other side of the football. Wasn't a great showing tonight. The defensive line got handled.
It was top to bottom. You can't even pick out one thing.
No, I know you mentioned Slay earlier, but we didn't hear his name a whole lot, which means they weren't throwing at him tonight. They weren't.
He got caught off on a couple motions.
Well, I think the play early, that was on Epps. The Kelsey touchdown.
No, yeah, not even talking about that one. Yep, not even talking about that one.
Okay. Well, and to be fair, they all got caught in motion. Yeah, tonight. I don't know what that was about.
They sure did. They sure did.
They all got caught in motion, and Kyle talked about that. Kyle talked about motion as being another, almost a 12th man for the Chiefs. They overplayed it a couple of times, and I will say this about Gannon on that third down play that put the Chiefs up 8. He sent everyone 0 blitz. I don't know who made the mistake. It felt like Maddox.
Maddox did. He followed the motion guy. Yep.
Yeah. Overcommitted, but I will give Gannon that. Like, he went after him, and the guy didn't make the play. It's unfortunate, man. Like, this defense was historical. This is the most points that a team has scored in the Super Bowl, being the loser, which hurts.
They just couldn't make the one play that was going to change this game. They needed one sack.
Yeah, and we kept saying it was coming.
One fumble.
Yeah, we kept saying it was coming.
One pass defense. Something. It didn't have to be a lot. One sack maybe changes this entire game.
Yeah.
One. They didn't get any.
Yeah.
Like, everyone went into this week saying our defensive ends have a crazy mismatch against the tackles of the Kansas City Chiefs. They got nowhere near Patrick Mahomes. Nowhere near him. Like, it just, like, they didn't show up today, man. They just didn't. They didn't show up today. And to do it in this game, when your offense keeps you in it that much, like, I get it. I'm not taking, like, Patrick Mahomes is very good. He didn't do anything crazy. He didn't do anything crazy. He didn't have those crazy sidearm passes. He had the one scramble at the end, which obviously hurt. But again, the Eagles got off the field after that. Like, he didn't do anything nuts. They just couldn't. They could not get to him in time to disrupt any throw that he had. I don't even think they didn't even disrupt him.
Yeah.
The defense just didn't show up, and Gannon got his pants pulled down and his lunch money taken. Like, what? All those Gannon protectors out there, can you give me something? Like, leave a comment, like tweet at me. Give me, like, what's your reasoning now?
So Regz, plain and simple, the defense lost them the game tonight.
Yes.
It's as much as we want to be angry about the call isn't the reason they lost. Like, the call's just frustrating because they didn't get a chance to match. And the defense is the reason they lost.
Yes.
And it sucks because they were good all year, and I think in this moment, Jonathan Gannon did exactly what we feared he would do, which is
nothing. His
too deep zone,
which is nothing,
and hope that the front four would do what they needed to do to change the game. And it's not going to be enough against Mahomes.
No, we talked about this all year. What can you show me against an elite quarterback?
Yeah.
I don't care what, like, we've talked about this all year. Great. Your stats say this, this, and this. Yes, the defensive line was very good this year.
Yeah.
What happens when you have an elite quarterback and your defensive line isn't getting to the quarterback? What do you do as Mr. Savant to change what happens? That's going to be on your resume. You got beat by one single motion player. That's what this is going to be. That's what you got beat by. Mr. God's gift to defense. That's what you got beat by. I know I've been set, like, I'm kind of happy I died on this hill now. Jonathan Gannon is a trash can, and I don't want to hear anything else about it. I don't care what you did. He's going to go get some head coaching job, and that defense is going to suck too. I hope the Eagles play him and they score 50 points. Because it's not hard. Send one person in motion and watch his defense crumble.
He'll be gone next year.
Thank God.
Unfortunately, so will a lot of the defense.
I'm not too happy about all of them going.
I mean, when you look at it from a defensive perspective, their free agents are a lot. The aforementioned James Bradbury will be a free agent. TJ Edwards is a free agent. Kaiser White's a free agent. Brandon Graham's a free agent. Fletcher Cox is a free agent.
Their linebackers got exposed also.
I know, but even so, like TJ Edwards is he's a
I'm not saying he's bad. Yeah, I'm not saying he's bad, but
he's been great for them. Anybody, here's the thing: tight ends and linebackers match up. Like Jason Kelce exposes everybody.
Oh, I'm not even worried about that. Like he was. I think we always thought he was going to get his.
Yeah. Gardner Johnson's a free agent. If I said Fletcher Cox, I apologize, but he's a free agent.
Yep.
So, look, hard to think that BG will be back. Fletch won't be back. I don't think Bradbury's back.
No, I don't think so.
I think Gardner Johnson's back, and I think TJ's back.
They just didn't. I mean, Hassan's back, right?
Yeah, he's 2 more years.
Yeah,
but they're gonna have to reshape the middle of the line. They're gonna have to figure out the other corner.
Mm-hmm.
I think next year we see far more Nakobe Dean.
We have to.
So, yeah, and that's fine. It's just, you're gonna have a new defensive coordinator.
This was embarrassing, and someone better get Jonathan Gannon on a microphone and have him explain why one person going in motion destroyed his defense. Someone has to get him on a microphone to explain why this happened.
I want to say this too, Regz, because I know we rip Jonathan Gannon on this show.
You've been very reasonable. I rip Jonathan Gannon.
Some of this has to be put on the players.
Of course it does. You're absolutely correct.
Like to look as lost as they looked.
Yes.
I know that scheme is scheme, but response is response.
They look like they were 11 years old and they've never seen a player go in motion before.
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
I certainly, as much as look, Andy Reid schooled him in the second half.
Oh my!
Simple as that. But the players on the field have to own some of that.
You're absolutely correct.
They have to own some of
No,
that.
you're absolutely right.
So, unfortunately, it kind of goes both directions. So, it's hard to go in a game like this, play by play, score by score. It's really difficult, especially right after. And I think we'll probably have some follow up next week with all of that. I mean, we could certainly pull it up right now and just kind of talk about some of the just quick highlights of the game. Unfortunately, like part of the thing that like I thought about doing tonight was maybe just writing some things down as the game went, but I got too into what happened. I think early we both kind of like we scored, they scored, boom and boom.
Yep.
And then we stopped, they stopped, and then we got the ball and we scored. And it was just like it just felt very much back and forth for the entire first half. We came back, got a couple of scores to end the half, and we talked at halftime, Regz. We were feeling, pretty good. You were still kind of questioning it. I was feeling pretty good. And then Kansas City came out, and I said to you, like, it would be nice if they like had a possession where they ran a bunch of plays and maybe like didn't score right away.
Yeah, right.
And we got the ball back, and
that's
then ran
all
some
we.
clock.
That's all we said is that just don't let them score. Like, fine, if they want to drive down the field and like get to the 35, and then you stop them, either force a long field goal or a punt. Like, I didn't think they were going to get them 3 and out.
Yeah. But then like,
but again, 10 plays, 75 yards in 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, and Pacheco scored.
Torched.
Yeah.
Torched.
So then we come out, and I think this might have been the Quez possession.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling to see. Was it?
Hold on.
I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was this possession. It wasn't. It was not this possession. Got to find that possession. I want to know what it was. But this was the possession. I got to tell you one play that confused me on this possession. So it was it was 1st and 10. It was right when they got in the red zone. Jalen rolled left, and Saunders chased after him, and Jalen like kind of leaped forward and stretched the ball out.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, 2nd and 11." And I was like, "What?" Looked like he gained 2 yards.
He went out behind the line when they reshowed it. Yeah.
Did he step? Okay, yeah. I missed that. Okay, I appreciate.
Unfortunately, yes. Like, I wish I could say that. No.
I appreciate you saying it because to me, it was just hard to see. It just looked different. So it must have been the second half where that play happened. Then, Regz.
I'm looking for it. Also, I can't quite find it yet.
Short right, pass deep, complete. So it wasn't right before half. I'm scrolling on the iPad here, Regz. Just
I'm trying to find it here too.
It was going left to right on screen. So it would have been in the second or third quarter. And I cannot find it. And people are probably screaming at us right now.
I know. Yeah.
They probably know when it was. Maybe they did score on it. Because I'm not
seeing it either.
Why not?
I don't know why. I don't know why not either.
All right, you keep looking. I'm going
to keep looking.
I want to talk about a couple of other things real quickly. The first one being the turf in this game.
Oh my God.
The NFL has to do a better job.
What the hell?
Of figuring out what that's about.
What the hell?
Because, and again, it was both teams, so it's not an excuse Eagles wise at all. Both teams were slipping all. You couldn't even celebrate without falling down. I think they said 11 players from the Eagles switched cleats.
Yeah, they showed the pile of it after halftime.
Yeah. So I think like I don't know.
Well, apparently this has been a thing since day one.
At that stadium.
The Chiefs complained about this week 2 when they played the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Like this has been a thing since then.
Yeah. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. And again, like not at all from the perspective of like, oh, the reason we lost. No, just more so from the lane of like, what happened tonight?
How does this happen?
There were guys just falling everywhere.
Yeah. I don't
just all game long, guys falling down.
Yeah. I don't understand it either.
All right. One other thing I want, and this is gonna sound bad because I like the guy. But like either that like Mahomes thing before half was like over exaggerated, or whatever they shot him up with at halftime is like a miracle drug.
Whatever they shot him up with at halftime was a miracle drug.
Okay. I don't know if it's the same angle because I don't remember what angle it was, but like that play at the end of the game that he ran for 30 yards, he looked perfectly fine to me.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Whatever that drug, Teradol or whatever that shit is. Works some wonders.
Because I'm sitting there and because I was talking to somebody at halftime and they said, that's how I was feeling. I said, oh, I'm 50%. Like, I still think it's a 50-50 game. Still Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, well, you know, he got hurt. And I was like, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't always buy it. Like, I like Mahomes. I've said this before. I think he's great. I also think he's a little bit of like, look at me sometimes, you know, hero.
Yeah.
And there was some of that tonight. And I just don't think, even with being shut up, I don't know how you can move the way he moved on that play, you know, without any sort of feel, because he looked just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now he was running straight, and I will say that he was running straight, didn't involve any cutting, and you know, a high ankle.
Yeah, right.
You know, certainly it was just bad pass rush too.
Oh my God, just let him
no contain at all. So maybe that's unfair, and I'm just being bitter.
So I found the play. Field goal in the third quarter after the KC touchdown is the Quez play.
He catches that ball. If he doesn't hesitate, I think he's in. I think it's 6. I think it's 6 because he had 3 yards of separation. He just slowed down. And I think if he doesn't slow down, it's a touchdown. Regz, I love Quez. I think this might be it for him. I don't know that he's back next year.
He's been useless.
They might have to find somebody else.
Yeah.
They might have to find somebody else. All right. Couple more things.
I keep looking at Twitter and I keep getting mad. Not from anybody in particular, but just I keep just seeing things like clips and Sirianni's talking now, and now Kelsey's talking, and I'm just like pissed. All
right. Well, let me say something about you. Jason's talking.
Yeah, like they showed a clip of his interview and then a clip of Sirianni's interview and stuff like that.
Well, I want to say something about Travis. I know we already kind of went off on Travis a little bit.
I already went off on Travis. You didn't. You don't have to come into my world.
I'm going to go a little bit.
I called him a POS, so I guess that was on me.
Here's my issue. Like his whole like nobody picked the Chiefs thing. Like, bro.
Because you weren't better than us.
But here's the thing. No, not even that. Like you were 16-3.
Yeah.
It was a 1.5 point spread. I know the Fox guys all picked the Eagles.
I hated that, by the way. I hated it. As soon as it happened, I said, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I get that. But there were certainly people picking the Chiefs. Like, there were certainly people picking the Chiefs. It wasn't like no one was picking the Chiefs. And I don't know. I just thought the post game was just in poor taste from him. I'll be curious to see what his like new heights persona is this week.
He's not going to be that way. He's not going to be that way talking to his brother. He won't.
No. And I know again, it's emotion. Like we're having it right now.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some sense of like what just happened, and it might be your brother's last time playing an NFL football game. And for you to come out and say no one picked the Chiefs, no one picked the Chiefs, it just felt mistimed. Like, do it at the parade.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Sure. Go nuts.
Do it at the parade. Go nuts. Like, do your thing at the parade. Because I'll tell you this, I don't think that would have been Jason's
No, I don't think so
post
either.
game. I don't think that would have been Jason's post game tonight. But you know, Travis has always had like this thing about immaturity.
Yeah.
There's always been that level. It's why he was, you know, questioned.
Yeah.
As an NFL player. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. There's no doubt about that. We saw that tonight. But the maturity has always been a question mark for him. And I think we saw a little bit of that. And we saw that after the Cincy game too. It's just like a level of immaturity from Travis Kelce that pops up every now and again. And we saw that tonight. I think, you know, he needs to have a little bit of a level head. And again, this is probably sour grapes for me.
No,
I'll probably listen back to this tomorrow and say, I shouldn't have said that.
No, I don't think so.
And one more time, is there anything specifically you wanted to touch on? I've been kind of bringing stuff up as we go.
No, I was just going to say it's been about 45 minutes and I didn't know if you wanted to sort of wrap on this sort of year that's been as a Philadelphia sports fan.
Yeah, Regz, obviously.
I didn't know if you had anything for Phixated, but like, I can't keep getting out of my head that we've lost 3 of 5 major sports championships.
Well, we're not going to be anywhere
6
near.
months.
We're not going to be anywhere near the Stanley Cup. So
No,
don't have to worry
we're
about
not.
that.
And there's not a good chance the Sixers win a championship. But this one, I don't know how many people follow the Union. The Union were the best team in MLS all year and blew it in the finals. They blew it against a team they beat twice during the regular season. The Phillies make an unbelievable run, very similar to the 2017 Eagles, into the World Series, but don't get it done. And I think in that run, we very much were accepting of of course we believed that they could do it. But I think when you really look back at it, it was, look, we lost to a better baseball team. A team with more experience and just a better team. Like, they were just a better team who played better than us. Still an unbelievable run regardless.
Mm-hmm.
This one feels very different. This one, it's one of those times where you feel like as a fan where you had it and they blew it. They blew it. And I just don't know how. I've been trying to think of ways to justify it or see if there's a different way I can think about it. Like, an entire side of the ball on a football field didn't show up for the Super Bowl. The most important game of their lives. They didn't show up. And it's very difficult to process, to justify. And then when you think of it in just the Philly sports scene, like, I don't know how you encapsulate being a Philly sports fan more than the past 8 months. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, again, it's why I told my son, welcome to being a Philly sports fan. It's full of tragedies, a harsh word, but like heartbreak and this feeling that, again, I don't know, this is a different feeling because it's very rare that Philly teams go into these championship games as sort of a clear-cut favorite. And I don't think they're not a huge favorite against the Chiefs, but they're a favorite. Like, the Eagles are a better football team. And the defense didn't show up. And it's really tough when all you care about as a Philly sports fan is, can you show up in the moments you're supposed to? I don't care what your record was. I don't care what your stats are. Can you show up when it matters? Jalen Hurts and that offense showed up when it mattered. And the defense didn't. They just didn't. And it just sucks, man. It just sucks to know that we had that game. We had it. Forget the referee calling that call. We had it.
Mm-hmm.
One defensive play. I'm not asking for 5 or 6 or 10. One guy stepping up and making a play changes the entire game in the second half. And it just it just hurts, man. It just hurts. It hurts your soul. Like, I don't know how to better explain it. It hurts your soul. And I don't know, man. This one sucks. Like, really, really sucks. I don't know your thoughts about that, but I just thought it'd be a good way to kind of wrap everything up. Because, again, we could rant for hours about this game. But I'm sure we'll have clearer heads in a couple days when we record next Thursday. But
so, I live in a world where like Philly sports is like beyond my marriage, pretty much what I have, right? Like, I don't even know that I say it jokingly. Like this is what I lean on. I don't really have a whole, this is what I am. I love these teams and I bleed them during their seasons. And like, it's just hard to go through what we just went through. Clearly I'm not like much of a Union guy.
yeah,
It was a hard way to kind of like watch them lose. It was tough, and then the Phillies losing, like you said, was a better team than them. And not that I ever felt like great about tonight. Like I never, we obviously picked them, but I think like I felt oddly confident when I woke up this morning. Oddly confident throughout the day. But this is gonna sting, man. Like it's just gonna sting. Like there's nothing that's gonna take this away. And again, like they were the better team. The best player was on the other side, and he certainly did. And the better coach. I don't know that that's fair. I thought Sirianni coached a hell of a game.
Yeah.
He leans on Gannon to deal with the defense.
Mm-hmm.
From the offensive perspective, I thought Nick Sirianni coached a hell of a game. He coached aggressively. He coached smart. He put his quarterback in positions to be successful.
Yeah.
So I appreciate my head coach. The difference in this game is Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy dominated Jonathan Gannon. So I do believe that whoever Nick brings in is going to be more of a veteran.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
And going back to your initial question, like I don't know that there's a way to describe what we've been through in the last 4 months. Like heartbreaking baseball, heartbreaking football. And again, I'd probably stomach it more if it was just a loss.
Yeah,
I think I think
yeah.
I
If Pat
think
Mahomes gets the ball with 1:40 left and goes down and scores a field goal, like, okay, it was the single thing I worried about the most in the last Super Bowl, that we gave Tom Brady too much time.
yeah.
Like, that's just a generational talent being better than you. Like,
Yeah.
that's going to happen. You're absolutely right. Sorry, I
Here's the
didn't
thing.
mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. The moral of the story is like they were outclassed in the second half, right? Like I'll go to the ends of the earth admitting that. Jalen tied the game. The defense did what it should have done. I know what James Bradbury said. Like, I know. I held his jersey and I appreciate his accountability, and I hope the Niners are taking lessons from his accountability. I do. What I think bothers me the most is that official took a really great ending away from two fan bases who deserved it. And NFL fans who deserved it. You know, I'm scrolling through Twitter and people are seeing Bradbury's quote and still saying that call can't be made.
Yeah, right.
Like, and whether it is or it isn't, like James Bradbury's going to say it is because he's not going to sit there, and they're not coached that way.
Right. And he's clearly not built that way as a person.
But they're just not coached that way.
Yeah.
And they're not led that way. And I've said this from day one. When your quarterback doesn't make excuses, when your leader doesn't make excuses, the team's not going to make excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen, I can guarantee, I haven't not seen Jalen's interview. I don't know if he's been interviewed yet. There will be no excuses from Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
There will be no excuses from anybody on this roster. Not one. Not one. Niners, take note. Take note. There will not be one excuse. You know, that the head official said tonight there was a clear jersey grab. Fine. There was a clear jersey grab.
There's a jersey grab on every play.
Every play
that ever happens.
Probably similar to the one we saw. Very similar. I feel like we were robbed of a really great ending. Maybe they don't score. But the fact that they only had 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 5-4 after the kick.
Yeah, right. And Jalen has to try and throw as far as possible with a busted shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to stomach that being the way that like this run comes to an end. It's just been such an incredible season. So many great moments. I really don't have a fixated Regz. I'm having a hard time.
I don't think you need one.
I'm having a hard time because as somebody who just bleeds these teams and they, like I said, aside from my marriage, like this is what I lean on. And I know it sounds almost pathetic, and I hate even, admitting that, but like
I don't think it sounds pathetic. What the hell do you think? What the hell do you think I'm here for?
This is what I lean on. So it's it's just hard to sit back and swallow this tonight. And not have a whole lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
I know pitchers and catchers start in 2 days, but what does that really mean?
No, until the games start and we see some players on the field.
And what does that even mean? It's a 6-month season.
Nothing, but it maybe takes our mind off it a little bit.
We were 2 wins away from a World Series, and we were 2 plays away from a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to read this real quickly.
Yeah.
From Matt Breen.
Okay.
Jordan Mailata on Jalen Hurts. Not bad for a system QB, if you'd ask me. I'm so proud of him. And then Jalen's own quote: "You either win or you learn."
Yep.
Not an excuse to be found.
Nope. And I'm proud of him for that. And you know
He's
what? Like
24 years old.
Yeah. You know, I'm really proud of this team. They're gonna let the fan base make excuses for him.
Yeah.
You know, and I honestly, Rex, like I don't even feel like you and I are making an excuse tonight. Like I think we've been really fair in saying they lost the game. I think what we're saying is we would have loved to see one more possession.
That's exactly right. I don't care if it happens that we get the ball back and the Chiefs defense steps up and stops our offense. Like, yes, we'll still be upset, but at least we had a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not, and again, like it's fine. They got outclassed in the second half. I'm not going to sit here and deny it.
Right.
What's going to be hard for me to overcome is we just didn't get a chance to have the ball back.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, you know, that's going to be hard. So ultimately at the end of the day, what a ride. And, you know, they return a lot of a really high powered offense. You know, hopefully Jason gives us another year. That would allow them not to worry about a guard this year.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then they're going to be in good shape next year. You know, they're going to be in really good shape next year. And at least on the offensive side of the ball, because they returned everybody essentially. And, you know, we just wait and see. They were 2 snaps away, 2 plays away from being Super Bowl champions this year. A fumble and a really questionable pass interference, holding, whatever you want to call it.
I don't think there's much more to say.
Yeah, and let Howie figure out the defense. And maybe you're the first repeat NFC East champion. And you get to do this all over again.
Listen,
because honestly,
they're certainly
there's
still
not really
capable. That was just what I was about to say. There's nothing stopping them from doing it again.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they have a very difficult schedule. They get the Chiefs right back next year.
Yep.
They get them back. And, you know, they'll be held to pay. And you know what? They get the freaking Niners. Bring the Niners. I hope they open with the Niners at home next year. I really do. Bring the Niners and Trey Lance to Philly in week 1 next year. Please.
Yeah.
Please. Can't wait. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end it there. Once again, congratulations to the Chiefs and Andy Reid. You know, this might be it for Andy, Regz. Honestly, you know what? We haven't really given that much credence tonight. And I do want to say, if this is it for Andy Reid, congratulations, Andy.
I mean, look, Andy said all the right things after the game.
He always does.
Again, he's the guy who literally took this franchise out of insignificance into being anything relevant in like the modern era. So I can't say I'm happy for him, but we'll always have respect for Big Red.
Yeah. So I
and
listen,
the dude at 60 something is still really good at calling offense. Like, say what you will, but he showed Jonathan Gannon a thing or two. Like, all right, youngster, you think you're some hot shit? I'll show you how it goes. So can still do it. Yeah.
It's something that needs to be said. Congrats to Andy and certainly, you know, our sour grapes tonight.
Yeah.
You know, they'll fold and And I want to just once more tip the cap to the Eagles for not publicly coming out and making a
not one
embarrassing
not one statement I've seen on Twitter has any player saying anything
and that'll
about
be
it.
So Kyle Shanahan, maybe, you know, get your guys in line and they can learn a lesson from the class of this team for the way that they handled it, because they handled it like champions. Plain and simple. Handled it like champions. All right, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this really somber recap episode. We'll come back on Thursday with something a little more
Level-headed,
reflective. Certainly, you'll probably hear more all around Philly sports. Maybe the Sixers will get some airtime.
Yeah.
Tough to say because pitchers and catchers.
I was about to say, yeah, we're very close to Phillies coming back. So,
but Regz, buddy, it's been a journey.
Listen, man, I will say that as much as I'm not even going to say I didn't want to get on and talk about this with you, because it's literally all I wanted to do was to get on here and talk to you about it. And hopefully, as we continue to do, we just reflect what our listeners themselves feel, like their emotions. And maybe this is just, if anything, this is a way to just have them sit in their car or while they're working and kind of let us get their feelings out for them, which I'm sure they're all doing right now by themselves, wherever they are.
Yeah.
They're doing this same thing. But listen, let us know. Drop a YouTube comment. Hit us up on Twitter. I'm going to post this on the Phixated Pod Twitter. Obviously we're out of our blackout from tweeting, so the episode link and everything will be up there. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know how you're processing. Let us know if maybe this is cathartic to just hear other people say it, in a public forum that you might agree with. That's all we hope to do, is continue to reflect how real Philly sports fans handle these things. This is the entire reason for this show, is to hopefully relate to people that this is exactly how they would talk to their dad or their son or their uncle or their cousin, right? If they were in a car with them, or if they were texting them tonight, Jesus, we could post the text of you and I back and forth and show me losing my marbles, in the second half about the defense. I'm sure plenty of people could scroll through their phone right now and they have friends or family that were texting them the same thing, or maybe they were texting other people, but it's just, and I'm ranting because I'm upset and I'm emotional and I don't know what else to do about it besides just get it out through talking. But it sucks, man. It just sucks. It's going to suck for a while. And that's just how it's going to be. Like I told my son, welcome to being a Philly sports fan, buddy.
Yep. It's a perfect way to end it. Welcome to being a Philly sports fan. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Click subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. You can follow us at B&B Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow the pod at Phixated Pod. You can follow me at Mike Drop 5. Regz with Big Regz at Big Regz with a Z. You can follow us on Phixated fan page and
on Facebook.
Yeah, and click the merchandise link if you want any. You know what? Hold on, I gotta at least do this for the good of the people. Here's the sock.
Here's the sock. It can now be burned.
I switched pockets on the last drive, hoping that would change the juju.
I tried switching seats also in the fourth quarter.
Nothing.
It didn't help.
So, no. Congratulations to the Chiefs fans, to Andy Reid. Always love you, Big Red. So, I hope everybody has a good Monday, and we'll be back on Thursday with another episode. So, appreciate y'all listening. Love you guys. Take care. And you know what? Thank you, birds. Thank you.
Good luck, everyone. We love you.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.